I was going to just say Justice Democrats are if anything, too progressive.
The two sides of the DCCC are Jekyll and Hyde running it. And basically, you guys, we're going to bring up and talk about the article so you understand what we're talking about here. So here's the first article. The DCCC is stepping up for two left candidates while progressives groups step back. And this is an interesting article here. Carlito, you want to talk about it first?
Basically, they're talking about how two races in New York and Nebraska, where the DCCC are actually helping these progressive candidates, while people like the Justice Democrats are really nowhere to be seen. And it's kind of weird to see it this way. You know, the one group or one person in Nebraska, she was progressive that lost before in 2018, I believe, and she beat establishment Democrat. So the DCCC obviously was for him at the time. She won that primary, but then lost the general election. But she came back again this time, and the DCCC is actually backing her after she actually beat the other guy's wife that was running for his old seat. It's weird to say the least. And the guy that she beat the first time, his name is Brad Ashford. He is endorsing that Republican Don Bacon now. So it's like it's ridiculous. This guy, that Don Bacon guy at one point called him a flip-flopper, and this time he flipped for him. So I guess maybe he's fine with that.
And we always talk about this, like why the progressive don't really support the progressive, or I think like the progressive movement, like we are so disorganized, right? Because like is Justice Democrat really a representation? Is the Sunrise movement? They say like, what is it, right? And you have all these so-called progressive movement, and when the time is up to step to the plate, they nowhere to be seen. So it's like we're going to continue to lose, and we're going to continue not to see people winning and stuff until we actually start having an organized movement that will really be a progressive movement, right? Because I don't think the Justice Democrats are really progressive.
Well.
Wait, hold on.
Now that you mentioned that, disorganized.
He just threw a bomb.
He just threw a bomb. Carlito, I want you to say what you're going to say, and then I'm going to jump in. Go ahead.
No, it's that you said that they're disorganized, but that's the whole thing. The question the case put out about Jekyll and Hyde, because the other thing that the DCCC did is basically made the progressives become organized because they have to. So I don't know, Case, go ahead and talk about that article.
We're going to talk about that, but I want to just correct the record on one thing. So, John, Justice Democrats was an organization that was started by Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske along with other people. So it's basically the first organization that we always say we need to organize. We need to organize. And even to this day, I see Kyle and other people say, man, the left is not organized. So that was the first attempt of people on YouTube who organized. And we got AOC. For better or for worse, some people really do not like AOC or other Justice Democrats. But we see that they have affected, whether you like it or not, or you admit it or not, they have affected politics and shifted the Overton window slightly to the left, depending on who you talk to. But what I want to comment in this article, it says, updated October 9th, after publication, Alexandra Rojas, the executive director of Justice Democrats, said the group is planning to spend at least $250,000 for Eastman. The article has been updated to reflect this. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that they do have some skin in the game. And now I'm going to...
And Eastman was the Syracuse race.
Exactly.
Okay. So I stand corrected. I was wrong, but I'm just telling you,
So let's move on to this next article.
I was going to just say Justice Democrats are if anything, too progressive. They're the snowflake progressive sometimes because they got rid of Cenk because of article posts that he had 20 years ago that he had apologized for before they came out and brought it out like it was some kind of Oppo research. It wasn't Oppo research. He apologized for it 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and then they try to bring it out like 2 years ago. It's a mess. They're a mess for that. It was terrible what they did to Cenk, and that was a situation where the progressives eat ourselves.
All right. Well, before
there's no path to redemption. So
before we start talking crap about progressives so much and start throwing parties for the DCCC, let's see what else they did.
Yeah. So here's the other article that I have here, and it's called "How Progressives Built a Campaign machine thanks to the DCCC. And basically this article talks about how the DCCC created a policy that they would not allow or they would recommend that any consultants that would work with challengers, they would be put on pretty much a blacklist. They would not be able to work for any incumbents or any established candidates. So now these consultants, whether you like it or not, that's their job. That's how they make a living. And so they have to be able to float between different candidates and campaigns and provide the emailing, the fundraising consultants, the marketing consultants, all the different advisory consultants, all these different brain trusts. They need to be able to make a living. So because the DCCC put these guys on a blacklist, all the progressives had to come together and they had to basically create their own infrastructure for these same consultants. And over time, it just created a powerhouse that helped, and I'll bring up the picture here again. It helped Jamal Bowman, Mondale Jones, Corey Bush, Marie Newman. They were all able to take advantage of this infrastructure. And the good thing about it too is, these consultants were genuinely progressives. Like, they cared about the progressive movement instead of what you might have heard when Bernie ran in 2016. I heard of a lot of the certain state directors who used to work for Hillary Clinton. So, somebody like that who might still have connections to Hillary Clinton might not be as enthusiastic about, getting the volunteers to do certain things, and they might be a little lax with certain things, but having a progressive infrastructure, they cared about the issues and they wanted to.
But what I really like about, that blacklist is how wonderfully it backfired, because then they grabbed the DCCC blacklist.com. The people that made the website was a firm that was blacklisted themselves. They got all their logos on the website, and then they use it as a badge of pride that they were blacklisted. So every single group, every single grassroots campaign that needs resources, and they're not establishment, they don't know exactly where to go. They have a one-stop shop where they could go and see, if I need polling, I go right here. If I need a website, I could go right here. If I need somebody to research, I could go right here. One-stop shop for everything, and it was forced because of the Jekyll side of the DCCC making their own blacklist.
I love it. I love. This is a feel-good story. It's one of those things like Dave Chappelle, where keeping it real goes wrong. They were trying to flex, and they were trying to squash the progressives, and instead what they got was a nice little recoil effect. What is it? That's like those videos they threw a ball at the tree or something. The tree bounced back and the ball bounced back and hit them in the face. So
they call blowback.
That's what happened to Kennedy. Kennedy was leading, and then Nancy came in, endorsed him, and it completely backfired on them.
After they said not to endorse people that are going against incumbents, Nancy Pelosi went against their own rule and endorsed him, and everyone was like, "Oh, Pelosi likes him. That means I don't."
But that's not the only one. There was also Elliot Engel, where Hillary Clinton came out and endorsed Elliot Engel, and then he started tanking right after that, and Jamal Bowman came out on top. So
Jamal Bowman raised a lot of money off of it as well.
Yeah, if only we could take this momentum and turn it into a people's party that is unbought, that stands for all the right things, and we just take this momentum and just force the Democrats to come over. That's the only way, is if we build a strong party. That's the Sunrise Movement. It's Justice Democrats. It's Brand New Congress. Is all these organizations like the Avengers combine all the forces against the Thanos of the Democratic Party. That'll be the way that we really take over. This halfway of trying to take over the Democrats from the inside. You're gonna have to pull them. You can't just try to nudge them. You're gonna have to completely pull them to our side if you ever want any change. So
totally. Let me show the website right here. This is the DCCC Blacklist website, and it shows join the blacklist. So if you're a consultant, and here's the categories field, you do video, research, digital fundraising, digital organizing, general consulting, advertising. This is where you would put your name and your organization firm and sign up. And like we said earlier, any progressive candidate, if they're looking for this, they know to go to this site, and they will have a whole bunch of people to pick from. And you would know that these are the progressives who are working for progressives, by progressives, for progressives. And that's what we need to see moving forward. In the comments below, tell us what you think about this and how the DCCC got blowback from their decision to try to prevent progressives from gaining a foothold. Let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe.